So guys, welcome back to another module of the Quantum Leap Ecom Agency program. Now in this module guys, what we're going to be going through is communication, okay? How to structure communication for your agency and why you should really just stick with one medium. Obviously kind of a spoiler alert in the previous module, how we was talking about Slack, ensuring all communication stays on Slack. So that is the communication method that we'll be using, but I want to explain it a bit more in detail, explain the different types of communication and how to conduct different types of communication within your agency so that it's very, very streamlined for both your client, so you can actually provide a better service to your client, as well as keep everything very systemized and streamlined essentially within your own agency and your own team as well. Okay, so let's just dive straight into it. So as I say, in this module, we're going to be going through communication. So here's what we're going to cover. Okay, the two types of communication. Okay, because as I say, there's different types, and I want to talk about two types in particular of communication. Number two, how to conduct communication one, and also how to conduct communication two, and also what we should do with unicorn clients. Okay, I know you're probably thinking, what the hell is a unicorn client? Well, we'll get onto that and I'll show you how to essentially, quote unquote, deal with them as well. So let's get straight into it. The two types of communication. So as I say, everyday communication. So everyday communication is how yourself, your team member / team members, if you've got a couple, and the client themselves communicate on a daily basis, okay? It may be every other day, on a daily basis, just like a figure of speech. It doesn't literally need to be every single day. And so this type of communication that we need to set up this is the type of communication that we need to set up in the expectations. As I was touching on in the previous module, this is the communication that only stays within Slack, okay? So you do not want different clients messaging you on different platforms, because this will not only get super messy for your agency itself, but also will be of a disservice to your clients. Okay, you need to clearly tell your client exactly how communication is handled. And I actually usually do this in the strategy session, so that when their email, for example, doesn't get answered, it will not be a shock to them because they have been told. Okay, and so the way it's going to be of a disservice to your client is because you want your communication to be as quick as possible for your clients, right? So in terms of when your client messages you, you want them to feel as though their message is going to get answered within the next 2 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours at max, or 24 at max, right? But if you've got 5 different clients messaging you between 5 different mediums, you're not going to be able to get back to those messages as quickly and as efficiently as you possibly could if it was all in one medium. And so this is why we want to do it. This is why we want to keep it all in one medium, because it's actually of service to your clients, and also it helps your team as well. Just knowing every message they need to answer is in Slack. Okay. And as I say, I usually just kind of reiterate and clarify this within the strategy session, and I also get them set up on Slack within the strategy session, which we'll get onto here in a minute. I'll give you an exact walkthrough as well. Now, the second type of communication is the reporting / status calls. Okay, there's a multitude of names that you can call this, but essentially the reporting / status calls. So these calls are conducted bi-weekly and should be at the same time for each client, okay? Every other week, every fortnight, it needs to be at the same time for each client, so that it is a lot more streamlined for all parties involved, right? So everybody knows that every other, and I mean, this may come off as like all clients are on the same call or something like that. Like if you've got client 1, client 2, and client 3, client 1, you want to ensure that it's, for example, it doesn't have to be these dates, but this is what I mean. Like client 1 has to be Friday at 4 p.m., right? Friday at 4 p.m. Every other Friday, every fortnight, because obviously these calls are bi-weekly. So every fortnight at Friday at 4 p.m., you have a reporting / status call with client 1. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. Okay, you have every fortnight on Thursday at 5 p.m. you have a status call with client 2, etc., etc. As I say, that just keeps it very, very streamlined for everybody involved. Everybody knows that it's this week at 5 p.m. on Thursday or something like that. Okay, so these calls are where yourself, your team member / team members again, and the client all hop on a call every second week and discuss how things are traveling, how the client is feeling, what your plans are moving forward, certain trends or patterns you are seeing in the ads manager that you want to go ahead and relay to the client so they're kept in the loop, how sales have been going, and any ideas you have to improve the returns you are generating, etc. Okay. Additionally, on these calls as well, you actually find that the client often has questions they want to raise or certain points that they want to touch on as well. So obviously you just want to go ahead and clarify those questions or points, etc., etc. So let's look at everyday communication. Obviously, I've already spoiled it. We do this within Slack. So everyday communication, this is held on Slack. Slack is essentially a communication platform that majority of businesses use. You will find that your clients are familiar with it, and so they are more happy to use it for communication, okay? I mean, for me, when I started out in the agency world, I actually didn't know what Slack was, obviously, because I was like I say, I was around 15, 16. And so I had no prior experience to a communication platform like Slack. So I was actually new to it. So I just automatically assumed that everybody else was as well. Like it was like kind of this new innovative communication platform. But you'll find that basically every single one of your clients, especially for e-com, because obviously all communication for e-com brands is held online for the most part. And so like I say, you'll find that, if you don't know what Slack is, don't worry. Like I say, you'll find that almost all of your clients will know exactly what it is, and they probably actually use it within their own teams as well. Okay, so for them to start communicating with you on Slack, it's very easy for them because they know the ropes. Okay, so all communication must be held within Slack. Okay, and as I've continuously touched on, if you get a WhatsApp, email, Facebook message, text message, etc. from your client, do not answer on that platform. Always bring it back onto Slack to show your client that this is the only channel that you communicate through. Okay, so with that being said, you now know the two types of communication: everyday communication and the status/reporting calls, whatever you want to call it. And so for everyday communication, this is always held within Slack. And so what I want to do now is go ahead and give you an exact walkthrough of how to set up Slack, how to navigate through Slack, and also how to quote unquote onboard clients within Slack. So this is the Slack interface. This is a new Slack channel, Slack account, whatever you want to call it. New Slack account that I've just created for the purpose of this module. So this is basically the page that you'll come to when you just go to just slack.com, I'm pretty sure. Just go to slack.com, sign up, all that sort of stuff, and as I say, you'll come to this page. And so on the left here, first things first, you've got channels and you've got direct messages, okay? You've also got apps. I've actually connected Loom, which is another software we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, don't worry about that. The main two things you want to worry about, or at least understand, is channels and direct messages. Okay, so channels, first things first, this is where your client and your team member are going to have your communication within. It's going to be within a channel, okay? Because as I say, as the name states, you can have multiple people in there. So when you onboard a client, you're going to create a specific channel for each client individually. And then, as I say, you've also got direct messages. So when you add somebody to your Slack, okay, when you add somebody into the Slack, your kind of Slack ecosystem, if you like, you want to add them into the respective channel that they should go into, and then automatically, you don't need to do anything. For the direct messages in the bottom left, the direct messages section, they automatically get created, right? So if you add, say for example, you add me into your Slack channel, you want to add me into the specific channel, but also you'll get an automatic direct message with me. And so in the channel, whatever channel you add, say for example, again, me, whatever channel you add me into, I'll be able to see all conversations had within that channel, but then you'll be able to always also direct message me using the direct messages tab at the bottom left there to message me privately. Nobody else will see those messages because they're directly to me or directly to your client, etc., etc. Okay, so if, when you, let's say for example, you sign on a client, what you'd want to do is come into Slack, you want to go to channels on the left, you want to go create channel or add channel, okay, and then go create channel. And then here, this is where you now want to go ahead and for the name, okay, you can just I just do the client name in terms of the business. So if I was working with, say, Under Armour, for example, dream client, I just do Under Armour, which obviously is the name of the brand, the brand itself. Okay, description, I never usually put anything in there. Make private, this is very, very important. You want to go make private and ensure that this is turned on. Okay, it's turned on. You'll see that you get a lock there, which means it's private. Nobody else, apart from the people that you specifically add into that channel, will be able to see obviously what the messages are, etc. within that channel. So you want to then just go create. And then here, okay, so in this box here, you will be able to, like, you know, if you've already added someone into your Slack ecosystem, you can literally just type out their name in here and it will come up. However, if you haven't added anybody into your ecosystem just yet, which obviously if you just created Slack then you wouldn't have, what you'd want to do is, see down here, it says to add a teammate who's not on Slack, you'll need to invite them first. You want to do this every single time. You obviously have to as well do this every single time you sign on a new client, because they obviously won't already be in your ecosystem. So you have to go invite them first. Okay, and so email address, obviously you just want to put in their email address, and then the name, it says it's optional, but obviously just put in their name of the client themselves. So let me do an example here. Okay, so what I've basically just done there is my agency email address, okay, and my name, for example, if I was adding, like, you know, if I was somebody else adding me into the Slack channel, okay? If on the client end, they want more people, so they want, you know, the owner themselves or the client, the person you've been dealing with, as well as the marketing manager, or as well as the, I don't know, the business partner, somebody else, or whoever it is, whatever, you just want to go down here where it says add another and just do the same thing and add the other person you want to add in as well, okay? Then at the bottom here, default channels, random and personal brand. This is one that, you know, you have to create a channel upon sign up, so I just do personal brand. You want to exit out every single one apart from the one that you actually want them to go into, right? So random as well, and then just have the one selected that you actually want them to go into, and then just go send invitations, okay? Oh, I've not put my .com. Send invitations, try again. Awesome. So, and then just go done. So now you can see, right? So you can, if you go down here on the left, what I was saying before, where like you manually create your channels. As you can see here, I've manually created this channel via the steps we've just gone through. But also down here, what I was saying to you before, where I was like, it's automatically, you know, they automatically create direct messages. You can see here, I've automatically been added into here. Obviously my request is pending because I've not accepted it. But once they accept it, they automatically go into here, so you can have a direct message within here, okay? And then in this, obviously in the client channel, this is where yourself, your team member, and whoever else on the client end, you know, whoever else on the client end wants to be in the channel, this is where you guys now go ahead and communicate, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I hope you can kind of see how to navigate through within Slack. You also want to go ahead and obviously add in your team member as well, and then have, you know, well, you don't need to create the direct messages, but in the direct messages section, that's where you and your team member communicate. And we're going to get onto how to build a team and how to manage a team in a few later modules, but just know that that's where communication for your clients stay, and also with your team members stay. Like, I only talk to my team through Slack, and it's through that direct messages section, okay? I hope that makes sense. Now, let's look at reporting / status call. So, all status calls should be held via Zoom, okay? Zoom is basically the same as Skype, but I just prefer how Zoom works. And so you wanna create a reoccurring meeting within Acuity Scheduling bi-weekly for each client, okay? As you know, these reporting calls are always held bi-weekly, and so you wanna create a reoccurring meeting within Acuity Scheduling, so that every single week at the every single other week at the same time, it's automatically, the meetings are automatically scheduled. Okay, so from here, you can add in your unique Zoom meeting ID link, so that every time you have a meeting with all participants, all participants just click on that Zoom link that is attached to the automatic confirmation email, and everybody simply joins the meeting, okay? This is single-handedly the most streamlined way to conduct all reporting / status calls. So if you don't feel as though you know what I mean, you don't understand what I mean, don't worry, okay? I will be showing you exactly how to use Zoom and also set up the automations and integrations with Acuity Scheduling in the next module. Just know from this, from this module, just know that all reporting / status calls are held on Zoom. So let's have a look at some unicorn clients, okay? What do you do with unicorn clients? So first things first, let's look at unicorn clients, okay? So unicorn clients in this context are the clients who genuinely don't care about how things are going as long as they are seeing results. And when I set expectations for my clients, I ensure that we follow them down to a T. However, with unicorn clients who don't really care about the reporting / status calls, I make an exception. Okay, so you will get some clients. I've got, I think I've got 2 right now I can think of that just don't care. Like if I'm generating results for them, if we're generating results for them, which we are, they don't care. You know what I mean? All I do for those clients is send over a Loom. Okay, because as I say, like every single client that I work with, I ensure we follow those expectations down to a T. What I mean by that is what we covered in the previous module, that client avatar, those expectations that we set. I ensure we follow everything like that down to a T. However, I always make an exception for Loom because it's more for them than it is for us, right? We do these reporting calls, status calls, far more for the client's benefit than for our benefit. And so if the client doesn't want the call, I'm not gonna go ahead and push to have the call. All I do is I'll just, I just won't have the call. However, I'll still do, as I say, I'll still do some sort of update just so they know. But if they don't watch it or whatever, it doesn't matter. At least I know on my end that I've, updated them bi-weekly like I do with all my other clients, okay? And so this is where Loom comes into play. So for these clients, I instead send over a 5 to 7 minute Loom video that is essentially of me or my team member walking them through the ad account and showing them what we're seeing on our end and going through what our plans are moving forward. Even though the client doesn't really care for the updates, this just shows them that you are wanting to keep them in the loop and just looks good on your end. As I say, these calls, the status calls and whatnot are way more for the client. And so if they don't want them, then I don't push for it. However, just so it looks good on my end, I still do some sort of, I still make some sort of touch point with the client just to ensure that they know that I'm trying to keep them in the loop. Even if they don't care, at least I know as well on my end that I've tried to keep them in the loop, and so there'll never be any backfire or anything like that. So as I say, I just simply send over a 5 to 7 minute Loom. Not long, just literally to have a touch point with them. That's the main point for it. So look, here's a quick walkthrough on how to use Loom. So obviously just back into where we were before. Now what Loom is it's a simple Chrome extension. And so you can see this little one up here, Loom for Chrome. Okay, so you just want to click on it and you'll see my face pop up. As you can see there, you've got the camera and you've got me here. And so basically this is all that it is, right? You want to go to, again, I think it's just loom.com. Just go there, download it, install it for Chrome, and then you'll see it pop up in the Chrome bar here. So just click on it. You want to, this is something that I personally do. I go screen plus cam. Okay, you can obviously just do screen only, which obviously, as you can see, just blocks out your face. So if you're super tired or something, just go ahead and do that. But as I say, I always do screen plus camera, and just go hit start recording and then just go through, just have up on the screen the client, obviously the respective client's ad account. And then from there, you can just literally simply walk them through what you're seeing on your end, what you've been doing, what you've been implementing, just cover the results. So look, for the last 2 weeks since I sent this previous reporting kind of Loom, we have spent whatever, $5,000, and we've brought in 20,000. And then for this month up until this point, we've spent, whatever, 10,000, we've brought in 50,000, whatever, just slight touch points like that, right? Just so you've shown them that you are trying to keep them in the loop. And yeah, that's really all you need to do. That's all I do. And so this is what you want to do for those kind of unicorn clients. So with that being said, let's switch to the other camera. So as you can see, that's basically, as I say, all I do for those kind of quote unquote unicorn clients. And so that is simply more than enough. However, for majority of clients though, as I say, this is maybe 1 out of 10 clients maybe that you'll work with that just don't care for the calls. But I just wanted to make sure that I covered that so you know what to do in those scenarios when you do come across those clients who just genuinely care about getting results and nothing else. Like if they're getting results, they don't care about anything else, okay? So let's jump back into the slides real quick. So as I say, here are your action items. So first things first, what I want you to do is go ahead and create an account on Slack. So once you've created an account on Slack, have a click around within the interface so that when you do get a client, it won't be super foreign. It won't be foreign at all because you know the interface and whatnot. And so if you have a client/team member already, then make sure you switch all communication over to Slack ASAP. Even if you don't have a client yet, but you have a team member, just make the switch, right? So all communication from here on in is within Slack. So then again, when you do bring on a client, nothing will be foreign because your team member and yourself have been using Slack for the previous, couple of weeks to a month or whatever it is. Number 2, just go ahead and create an account on Zoom. Don't worry about understanding Zoom just yet because as I said, we will be setting it up properly in the next module. Same with Acuity scheduling. So just go ahead and for action item number 3, just go ahead, create an Acuity scheduling account. And again, as I mentioned, do not worry about understanding the ins and outs of Acuity scheduling as I will be walking you through step by step in the next module of how to use it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this module. I hope it gives you some more clarification around how to conduct communication within your agency. And with that being said, I will see you in the next module.